you've made believers out of people who were skeptics about BRICS nations. I just saw a story yesterday, Russia announcing that most of their oil trade now is not involving the dollar at all. It's not even rupees. It's mostly the yuan. It's not euros. I mean, look, the earthquake has happened. The tectonic plate shift of global finance is happening. You've been proven correct, sir. Your comments.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the problem is most people can't get out of the way of what they don't see coming, because unless you're spending time searching alternative media, you'll never understand what is happening. But you're right. There is a major shift that is happening with the BRICS nations. And the first step is the settlement in local currencies, whether it be the yuan or the rupee or the ruble or the real or whatever it may be.
The Russians backed up what Warren's been saying. A lot of people are going, oh, this currency is not going to be anything. They said it's going to be gold-backed. Hello, it's going to be gold-backed.
The BRICS group is set to introduce a new currency backed by gold, in contrast to the credit-backed US dollar, with countries lining up to join the growing initiative.
The BRICS countries are planning to introduce a new trading currency which will be backed by gold.
If we don't change the direction of this war everywhere and printing money everywhere, what's going to happen? How long can we keep this up, Andy? How long can people keep taking this piece of garbage here that we print at will?
I don't think much longer at all. I mean, look, just in this year alone, the BRICS countries have offloaded $123 billion in U.S. treasuries. China and Brazil and India, the United Arab Emirates, all of our supposed allies of the past, well, minus China, although we had a good relationship with them for a long time. They're dumping the bonds, and there are countries that are working very hard to strike deals with one another outside the dollar. And as we continue to print at a pace that is unsustainable, while rates are going higher, we are putting such strain on the entire system. The whole system's going to be dragged down, and maybe that's what they're intending to do. But maybe that's why. And it's not just the wealthiest traders in the world, that being the central banks, it's the most sophisticated and well-informed, continue to buy gold at a pace that the world has never seen over the last 18 months, more than they have ever seen. And every month, it's bigger than the last.
Welcome back to the Mel K Show. I am here with my go-to guy when the financial markets and the world seems to be spinning out of control. My good friend Andrew Sorchini at Beverly Hills Precious Metals comes on to give me the big picture of what we're dealing with right now. What a crazy week so far. Andrew, your thoughts since Monday?
Well, it's been really interesting. We saw, actually going back to Friday, we saw the Asian market, specifically Japan, take a little bit of a beating. And the big question going into the weekend was, would that beating continue in their stock market into Monday? And boy, did it. It was their worst day in the market since 1987. Okay, so immediately, like even before I woke up in the morning, my phone's just ringing off the hook. I see web submissions coming in from everyone that we work with, people wanting help, people saying, okay, I've had enough of this market, and they were absolutely terrified. But what I saw was Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies are crashing. The stock market here in US crashed yesterday. Right. Gold and silver were also down a lot. At one point, gold was down $72 an ounce and silver was down $2 an ounce, which is just unbelievable. And really, the only time that I've seen that in recent years was in March of 2020 when New York and Los Angeles announced the stay-at-home orders, and everyone panicked and they had the mindset like, I don't care what I'm invested in. I want that cash and I want it here in front of me right now.
Right.
And then just like what happened then, we saw a little bit of a rebound, and we've seen a rebound today on the stocks. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. They're already calling it the Kamala crash. Absolutely. It's even gold is just under $2,400 an ounce. Right. And if you went on vacation for a week, and if you were one of those people that actually could set your phone down and not look at it the whole time, right. If you looked at it a week later and saw that gold was $3,000 an ounce, you shouldn't be surprised. Right. I'm not suggesting that it's going to 3,000 in a week. I'm just saying that in our minds, we're already ready for it to be there. So once you can see it in that regard, it will get there. First, we have to cross through 2,500, but we did get to 2,480 fairly recently.
Right.
And another interesting thing happened yesterday, and I don't see it anywhere on the news, but a while back, TD Ameritrade switched over to Schwab. So Schwab is already a big brokerage account for stocks. Now it's even bigger because they've actually acquired TD Ameritrade's clients. Well, yesterday, I talked to many, many people that had heard this story from their clients that Schwab accounts were locked up. So while our markets were free falling, you couldn't log into there. Now, I personally know one couple where she has an account that has $30,000 in it, and she was able to log in all day long just fine. But the other person, the partner, has like about $500,000 in there, and they weren't able to log in not even once all day yesterday. Yeah, it's not too late. Silver is more than $5 an ounce less than where it was at its high about 3 months ago. And we know that this is going to happen. We know that silver is manipulated. So people that were procrastinating or people that just went in just a little bit, dipped their big toe in the water just to test it out, they were cautious, and now they're being rewarded because it's you're able to invest into gold and silver, mostly silver at a big discount. So it's not too late. And I'm seeing like probably since we've been on this podcast, probably 10 submissions on my phone for people, which obviously I'm not reading them at the same time, but most of them are probably people wanting to roll over IRAs, which they've heard it all before. They just never proceeded with doing it. Some people have talked with us here and just never moved forward, but we're having a lot of people do it, and it's a good time. Yeah, if you want to protect your retirement, specifically your 401k or your IRA, when you do fill out that form, please put 401k rollover or IRA rollover in that portion, because I will get you over to our IRA department, which will help you get it converted over very, very quickly. We're seeing these get done in like 7 to 10 days recently, which is really important because although you do have some time now, we do feel that urgency. We put it on ourselves because we see the writings on the wall and we know it's coming. So it's the product is available. The process is quick. This isn't a high pressure deal. And you're actually able to buy metals cheaper now than people did in the last quarter of 2022, because the premiums for what it costs to buy gold and silver back then were much higher than they are now. Yeah, so it's so by waiting, it's actually paid off pretty good. And really, for people that are selling stock in their retirement accounts in order to roll them over to own physical gold and silver, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Taking a profit is something that actually takes quite a bit of skill to know when to do it. Right. I saw that Warren Buffett last week admitted that he sold half of his Apple holdings for Berkshire Hathaway. And this is like the world's most successful stock trader in the history of the stock market. So I would follow what that person's doing. Anybody can make money in a stock market where everything's going up, but knowing when to sell and when to just say, okay, I've made enough and sell a portion or all of your position takes real skill and discipline. And most people out there don't have that. So if you do that, you can protect yourself by going into gold and silver until all this blows over, which we know it will, probably long after the election. It absolutely is. So yesterday I talked to a client of ours that did about $100,000 in gold back in 2022. And he lives here in California, Southern California. And here we've had a rash of break-ins, and he didn't feel that it was safe to keep it at home anymore. So he started asking me about the depository option. And I said, well, have you moved it out of your home yet? He goes, yeah, I put it over at the bank vault at Wells Fargo. And I said, oh, that's a terrible idea, because you might have a key to your box, but you don't have a key to the front door. Right. And if there's a big run on the bank and people are pulling their cash out, there's not a separate line for you to get into the bank because you have a safe deposit box. You stand in that line with the people that want cash until the bank runs out of cash and flips the sign on the door and says that they're closed for the day, just like they did about 14 years ago during the financial crisis. So if you want to get it out of there and have it somewhere safe, then you can put it at the Delaware Depository, which is the depository that you referred to earlier. It's where our inventory is stored at. They ship the product for us. It's insured against acts of God. And we've actually had people benefit so much from having it there. Like recently, we had a lady that had I believe a while back you bought one of those buckets of silver.
Yeah.
That's a $500 face value bag.
Right.
I had a lady that had 30 of those in the depository. I mean, could you imagine having to ship us 30 of those? That would be backbreaking work.
Yeah.
So she wanted to exchange her silver in favor of gold. She wanted to take a profit in silver, and she did. So when she converted into gold, all she had to do was fill out a form that transfers her silver into our storage account.
Right.
And then we were able to just transfer our gold into her storage account. But it's really there. They've all been at the same address the whole time. They just go under different ledgers.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's
That's
a good,
great.
safe way to do it.
Yeah.
So, and if a person gets into a jam and needs 5 or 10,000 or 50 or 100,000, then you could sell it to us. We have you sign a similar transfer form. It goes into our account, and then we pay you by wire transfer.
Yeah,
But
it's so great.
Yeah, it really is a great option for people to be able to store some of what they have saved, some of what's been gifted to them until they're old enough to figure out what to do with it. Like one prime example is a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Clay Clark. He's got his oldest daughter is almost 20 years old. She's born in like 2005, and she bought some gold from us.
Right.
But what Clay always likes to point out is that in 2005, when she was born, gold was $400 an ounce. Well, today it's almost $2,400 an ounce. It's up 600%.
Wow.
So if there's a young person out there, they could be a teenager, they could be younger than that in grade school or even high school, it might be a good idea to set up a storage account for them and have them be able to accumulate some gold and silver and have it sit there until they are older. I know for me, at that time, I was working at the coin shop, and I did some gold and silver, but I was more concerned with putting money into my car, which was just basically this money pit of just throwing money away. If I had put it into gold and silver and kept it all there, it would have appreciated greatly. So I think the younger people these days are really getting wise to it. Yeah, I'm getting emails every week.
I know, it's great.
We've been doing this long enough and we've grown so much over the past few years that we've got a lot of clients. And I read through every web submission, every text, every email that comes to me, and send them to the right department. And I'm seeing so many of them that I'll have a wife say that my husband's passed away, and I need to know what the next steps are to be able to put everything into my name so that I can choose a new beneficiary. Right. And it's like, as sad as it sounds, this is what the original account holders planned for. This is what they wanted and wished for, and it's going to the right people, and it's not going through the court system where it's going to be kicked around for years. I know here, one of the people that worked for us, he passed away August 2022, and it was up to earlier this year that they're fighting over his assets in court. I'm not talking about gold and silver, other things, but I just had firsthand knowledge of just seeing this thing drag out. It's bad enough when you lose someone, but you want to be able to have everything closed and be able to move on with your life and not have financial things drag on. It is. So I think in regards to us and being able to work with people like yourself, I see you every 3 or 4 months at the Reawaken Tour. You could see that I'm a real person. I could see that you're a real person. We have a lot of friends in common. And when something's not good, the word spreads quickly. It does. And I'm fortunate enough to work with so many of the people that are on the Reawaken America Tour. And it really, you can do 10,000 good transactions and one bad transaction. And it's the one bad transaction that you're going to be remembered for. So I'm very, very careful to make sure that we take good care of our people. So as far as what to watch for, watch out for these stories where people say, okay, we just bought 1,506 of these special $20 gold coins. And by the end of the day, we'll probably have less than 1,000. So you can call me anytime you want, but when you call me, these probably won't be here.
Right.
You don't need to hear that kind of story. Don't pay $80 or $100 an ounce for silver, which, believe it or not, people are out there doing. And I don't know how they legally do it. And really, people will take advantage of your emotions to get you to make a decision with your heart and not with your mind. And unfortunately, it's happening way too often. And as we start to go down this abyss that we're headed toward leading into the election, we're going to see a lot more of that. So it's important that if you're thinking about it, like let's say you're 3 or 4 months for making the decision, go on to melkgold.com, fill out the form, have a conversation with us, and just build that relationship a little bit with us. I'll assign you to someone here that you could speak to all the time. They'll answer your questions, and then when you're ready, you'll feel like you have the comfort and knowledge to proceed with it. And that way you're not being pushed into it and you don't feel the pressure. But when you turn on the television and you see market crash, and you want to act with your mind and not your heart. Yeah. Just last week, I had a story that is one that I'd never seen before. And I love sharing these with you. And I try to do it as much as possible. So this was a new client that had agreed to do an $800,000 purchase for a mixture of gold and silver. And this was a Friday afternoon transaction.
Oh, wow.
And my brother, who works for the company whom you've met, is the one that handled it. And I let him know, I go, hey, you're going to need to talk with the client. And just let them know that when they go to the bank on Monday, that the bank is going to try to talk them out of it if they tell them what it's for. And they will ask what it's for. So she agreed, okay, I won't say what it's for. Well, she went to the bank. They asked what it's for. She told them exactly what it's for. And she said that they told her, if you're going to buy gold and silver, you can buy gold and silver from us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, banks don't sell gold and silver, but they get you into gold and silver paper assets, which are many times oversold, many, many, many times over. And she said, well, I want the coins. And the bank said, okay, we can do that. We'll get you the same coins that the other company got you. And we'll do it for less. So she calls us and she says she's not doing the deal. And I go, well, no banks sell coins. And I go, so what coins are you getting? She goes, the same ones as you. I go, do you have any kind of a quote, anything that you could show me that I could just look at? If I'm okay losing the transaction, but I want to learn. Can you show me how this works? She goes, well, they haven't told me yet. And I talked to her for a few days after. They still hadn't told her yet. And this was just a drawn out thing to kill the deal with us, which they did kill. And who knows what's happening right now? She's probably into the paper gold and silver, or did nothing because the bank scared her. And at one point she said, Andrew, what is this? Is this really you and the other bank fighting over my business? I go, no, this is the cause. The banks are the enemy. We're trying to get you to decentralize what you've worked for. If you feel that I want the sale too bad, then go with another gold company, but don't give it to the bank. And she's like, well, I'm just so confused about everything. I said, that's what the bank wants. And this is just a different spin on similar stories that I've shared with you over the years now. But it's like the banks are really, really getting wise, because we know that people go to the banks scare you out of doing it. We prepare you before you go. And now the banks are countering that with extra information to try to scare you. So be ready for that. Don't be afraid to go into the bank. You just have to hold your ground when you get there. Well, I love everything you just said. I think this is 2024 and on is a time for you to take control of your financial future and everything that you've worked for. Because after all, no one else is going to look after it the way that you would. And I'll tell you that what I'm seeing right now is what I saw in 2021 from about May to the end of December. And really that was 6 months in, not even 6 months into Biden's term. And I feel like a very similar feeling right now. So if this hunch is correct, if we're really heading into an extended bull market for gold and silver, and we're going to see the prices move up and we're going to see the premiums move up. At least reach out to us and say hello and give us a chance to talk to you about what we do.